Are we up? Are we on? Look at me, I'm on time. I'm very, very slightly prepared. I'm not really prepared. But you know, preparation is as preparation H. Right. So, um, yeah, I'm here to talk about a few different bits and bobs. But first, let's just make some music. Ooh. Ah. Ah. Got it. Oh well, at least I'm enjoying myself. So, one of the big questions of the day is why do I love this piece of shit guitar so much? This is essentially a piece of shit. You talk to anybody that knows guitars, well, you know, that knows guitars, that looks down their nose guitars, people that know guitars, and say, yeah, my mate's got a Stag. He says it's the best guitar he owns. And they'd be like, oh, God, he's got some shocking shit then. Stag are not really that universally well respected. Well, certainly not in my old musical community back in Chichester anyway. They were seen, you know, as just the cheapest, nastiest rubbish. But I've seen a couple of things of theirs, and I thought, that's not bad. I mean, for a start, you know, it's like lead, mic stands, all those fucking utilities. I mean, I kept buying Stag stuff, and it was all right. I've got a Stag amp there, which is pretty crap, but it was bloody cheap. And when I say crap, I mean, really, it's not bad at all. It's like a tiny little, you know, combo PA. You can put like anything in it. It's got a mic input, it's got a instrument input, an EQ panel, a reverb, which is really trashy and really cool. You know, like I love those cheap trashy reverbs. And it's got a phono auxiliary in, so you can, like, you know, put backing tracks and whatnot in, keyboards, whatever you like. But I've had no issue with any of the Stag stuff that I own. Now this, I probably paid too much for this guitar. I generally don't pay over 100 quid for a second-hand guitar, which is a fucking, no name, piece of shit name thing. And I'd certainly pay more for an Axel than a Stag, but I paid more for this Stag than any of my 3 Axles. But I love this guitar. I adore this guitar. Picking up this guitar and playing it just puts me in a good mood. This guitar makes me want to play guitar, even when I don't want to play guitar. I don't feel in the mood to get, and I sort of look at this guitar and think, oh, I can give it a quick bang. And I end up playing like heavy metal on it, and I'm loving it, sort of old favorites and fucking Iron Maiden sort of power chords and all that stuff. And it sounds great for heavy metal. I mean, it's got these sort of like Invader copies, and they work well. Useless clean, but for anything metal, they're just great. I'm not touching a fucking thing on this guitar. I've done all the little cosmetic changes I wanted to make. I brought out the sort of like the off-white as much as I humanly could. Hey, do you like my strap, by the way? Urban camo goes with it. And you'll notice that with my straps, they always sort of go with the guitar that they're on. But yeah, it's got binding on the neck. It's got finish on the neck. It's a bolt on, it's a telly, it's an older body and a maple neck. And it feels good. But it's like, the thing that got me was I just really come late to the party with Gajira. Band, I sort of first heard a couple of years ago, but I didn't really get into them until late last year. And I was fascinated by his Telecaster, which is a shovel, and it's basically this. It's got, it's like a Tune-o-matic and a tailpiece, like on a Les Paul or whatever, with a couple of humbuckers, but, the standard Tele control plate. So when I saw this, it was exactly, the Josh Duplantier, the Joe Duplantier fucking sort of layout, which I was fascinated with and was sort of like, oh, I'd love one of them guitars, And so to find one, set up exactly like his, looks totally different. He has like a nice plain solid color, usually white or natural, and everything's black, whereas this is ridiculous. It's called a Stag Nitro. I kind of regret putting the orange sticker on the headstock because, it's a Stag and I should just be fucking proud of the fact that it's a Stag. It's like, hey, fuck you. I was doing it with a Stag and I'm loving it. Maybe this is my best guitar. It might even be technically, if you put it on, the dyno. There is no such thing, but it sounds good. But yeah, a fantastic guitar. I just love it. And I think, that is the most important thing that guitar can do for you, is actually kind of make you want to pick it up. Make you want to pick it up. That's such an important thing. Let me introduce you to an old friend. I've never got this out before, I don't think, on a video, but, there was a point in time I was playing more bass than guitar, and I have, of course, played bass in bands like Stone Cold, the very venerable, fucking Bulldog Bash headlining South Coast #1 Stone Cold band that I was in 20 years ago. And, I completely put all my time into playing bass. But this is my Fender Precision. Well, it's not Fender Precision. This is my Precision. And it's a Squire. And it's an 80s Squire made in Korea. So it has a little bit of interest. These are getting silly money now. It's got a faux badass on it. That's the one mod I made. It's actually not in good shape. It's got a string missing right now. I'm plugged into my R4, Laney R4, which is a cracking bass amp. That was like the first or the second bit of kit I got in this studio. There's a dude on a Facebook selling group who wanted 15 quid for it. I give him 20. It's fucking like, come on, it was just a drive to Southampton to pick it up. I think I'd got the Silver Burst Les Paul before that, but that was either first or second. But it was like, yeah, and just visually, it's like, wow, the studio's really coming together. And of course, I've got a bass amp, which is giggable. Yeah, I'm not very good at slap, but you know, I adore playing the bass. Got some problems here. I'm gonna have to set this fucker up properly. The knobs are all scratchy as well. It was making a terrible noise when I put it. But this is my faithful precision, and it's getting very tired. I think, you know, it needs a good seeing too. I mean, everything's in all right shape, and it just needs some TLC, you know. And that's why it's been sort of sat in the corner, sort of like the ESP, just not getting any love because it needs a bit of work. And sort of when a guitar's like that, I can't really bear to sort of touch it until it's like done, you know. And I'm just a bit slow, and I've got so many other things to be looking at. Seems very muddy as well, but I haven't spent any time trying to get a sound. But yeah, this amp, fucking great. It's got a built-in compressor, enhancer, EQ, limiter. It's got an active horn, which you can pop on and off. But yeah, limiter, defeat, and a compressor. Both are on independent switches. It's got like a graphic that you can switch in and out. It's a cracking bit of kit. I'll turn it off for now. And noiseless. Did you hear any noise? And it's got a bloody great cooling fan on it. So not a bad bit of kit. I've never let's put it this way, I've never disliked Laney bass amps, and I'm very fussy with bass amps, but they've never really done anything that's offended me as such. They're all right, good entry level, like good amp. And I have to say that is like one of the better bass amps I've ever owned. It's been one of my weak spots was getting bass backline. Like when I was with Stone Cold, I mean, I essentially managed to get away with never buying my own bass amp, which was very naughty. But Roland Manuel, if ever you're watching, bruv, like, because I know that you do see some of my stuff, man, I love you to bits, and I hope all is well in your world. And thanks so much for helping me out back in the day with that big old PV amp and the Trace Elliott. But yeah, I mean, I was like a tech for 9 Below for a long time. Like even when I was a support act, I'd earn extra money by sort of like teching and, you know, doing their monitors and stuff. And one of my things was looking after Jerry McAvoy, his bass guitars and his bass amp. And, you know, he was once the bassist for Rory Gallagher. So that was a fucking privilege and a pleasure to do. And I learned a lot from that. One thing is like, I haven't picked up the bass for ages, and I was falling there into my bad habits. Essentially, the worst of which is being a guitarist and being heavy-handed. Like, I grabbed Jerry's left hand once, expecting the ends of the fingers to be like marble, to be like polished marble, and they were soft as baby's fingers, and I was astonished. And I learned that actually, like, these old school bass players are really gentle. Like, they're really gentle, and that's the fucking heart of their sound. And when I went home with that philosophy and first tried it, just totally overplayed that. Didn't show you what I'm on about at all. But it's just that gentle playing. Oh, you get the best warm sounds with the most clarity, the most detail. So I learned a lot from that. Banging away at a bass like an idiot doesn't get you nowhere. But yeah, I adore this guitar, and it does the job, and no one can knock it. Right. Now, the amp there is the Vox VT20 Plus, the old one, not the new one, which is the X. Rather sort of annoyingly, when I bought it, I didn't realize that there was a difference between the Plus and the X. So I spent 2 days before I got it, like fucking schooling up on the X. And the X, of course, has got this ability where you plug in a fucking phone or a tablet or a PC, and you do it all on the PC. Like, it's great when it's on a tablet because you're doing it all with touchscreen. So he's literally picking your pedal, picking your pedal, picking your pedal, picking your amp, and like putting it all in what they call the tone room. That looked like a lot of fun. But actually, I'm glad that it turned out this way. I actually think this is a bit better. I actually think this is a bit better. Now, I'd love to actually, like, because they're so cheap, I think I might buy the VTX one day, because, you know, they're 140 quid new, you can get them. You know, I paid 70 quid for that second hand, but it didn't have a mark on it. It's absolutely immaculate. Maybe I overpaid for it, don't really give a shit. Fucking bargain to me, 70 quid, being as I paid 80 quid for the orange, like the month before. And that, you know, brand new, and it being, you know, not half the amp. But yeah, truly marvelous bit of kit. And what I like about it is its authenticity, in the sense that, like, right, okay, this sound. Now, I thought all of the US high gain, I thought the US high gain section was all Misabukis. When I was playing, when I sort of like got to this one, oh, that's more like a VHT, right? It's like my old VHT, right? And lo and behold, it fucking is a VHT model. So, you know, that's good when things like that work out. So that's where I am on at the minute, and obviously it's a high gain. But now here's the thing: to get a blues sound, right, I'm going to stay where I am. I'm going to take the tone back a bit. Okay. So I've took the tone back, right? Now I'm going to take the volume back. See? So it's like, it's nice to have like a lot at your fingers, and in, you know, this is working for me like, you know, a valve amp does, like in that respect, in the way that, like, I'm doing it. I don't do that with like other setups. I kind of do, but it doesn't work as well. And listen to that. Is that not tubey? Now I'm going to put something on. Okay, right. So first, right, I'm going to a clean model. Okay, and it's a Fender Blackface 65 Pro. Now I'm going to give it some clong. Listen to this decay. Tell me, is that tubey, or am I just imagining it? It's muddy, I know that much. Who have we got in the chat? Sandra! Oh, brilliant. Yes, I'm having a cup of tea. And what time is it over there? Is it in the morning? It's good to see you. Um, mm, mm. Cup of tea, marvelous. Yeah, I'm waffling as usual, and I should really be giving you good music, shouldn't I? So yeah, that's the sound I really like. Now let's get rid of the clon, and I'm going to go over and now this is the Brian May amp, right? This is the Brian May AC30, and I just fucking adore this. It just doesn't end, you know. Sandra, any requests? Whack them up in the chat. I don't know what the sound quality is like, whether we're lagging today or anything. We've had a few bad lags, but the last one was all right. That worked out well. Well, yeah, so a couple of bits there I just played you. Two bits of different things that are both bits of music that I'm working on. One that I've been working on off and on. Ooh, the one who knocks, Mr. White. Glad you could join us, my friend. You missed it all. You missed the bass. You missed it all. Yeah, like so the first bit of music. Yeah, they're both things that like I've had bits of for a while and been noodling on, and they're just brushing up into shape. The worst thing, well, an awful thing, and it's something that I have to work hard to sort of variegate, is because I practice a lot to the drum machine on the keyboard. I end up writing a lot of stuff to the same fucking rhythms, so I have to jiggle that about, but it can be quite tough. But fucking pleasure to have you all here. Really good to see you, Sandra. Really good to see you, Mr. White. Like I say, any requests, whack them in the chat. Sandra, I don't know any Pantera. I love Pantera, and I tend not to. I'm very strange with covers. Yeah, it's very hit and miss. I'm afraid it's always worth asking, but it's very hit and miss. And yeah, I adore Rory, but wouldn't dream of trying to play anything. But I thought I'll give that a blues nudge there. And that tone is one of my favourite tones. Tone, big capital T. You know, like that is so like mid sculpted that it's almost like a coctoir, like a fixed wah. But that is one of my favourites, and it is all in the tone knob. The tone knob and the volume very much dictate how that performs. But yeah, quite often I'll give you another example. Actually, I'll give you another example. Quite often, it's a heavy metal sound. It's a heavy metal sound with it all wound back. That is usually the sound that I like for blues. It's very often the case. And here's another example. So this is the model of the Fender Blackface. Let's see what Mr. White's. Would you recommend keyboard drums or a loop drum combo? Well, really, whatever you can get your hands on, any and all. I've got a few methods. The Boss there has got a drum machine on it as well, but the Yamaha one sounds better. So really, it's like a few methods. I mean, I'm going to try and get my hands on more keyboards. This I bought new from Argos for like 99 quid, and it's the fucking best 99 quid I've ever spent. As soon as I played it, I could hear like my ex-girlfriend had a wonderful Yamaha electric piano. And immediately I could recognize the sound card from that on that. And it hasn't got, the lovely long weighted keys, but I have that on check this out. I have that on a classical guitar setting usually. check this out. Now that's actually the intro. Oh yeah, there was a track. The first track that I played today was called Epsilon Groove. That was excerpts from Epsilon Groove. Yeah. Now this is that is actually the intro, the flamenco intro to a track called Alloy Hoof. But check this out. Now that's pretty convincing, isn't it, for a 99 quid keyboard? That actually does. If you what I'm trying to say is, if you play the actual guitar notes, it sounds like a guitar. If you just play keyboard on it, it sounds like a keyboard. But if you actually play what you would play on a guitar, pretty convincing. So guess what gets used for sneaky overdubs? Yeah. So yeah, a perfect example is, in fact, I'm going to have to show you. But a perfect example is, yeah, this business here with the classical intro of Alloy Hoof. Yeah, I think I put, if I remember right, I put like a bit of castanets and a shit in there to give it like a Spanish feel. But I'll show you. I'll actually show you. And I recorded it. This was before I got the, you know, $2.5 grand fucking Manuel Raimundo. And it was when I still had just this, and you know, I could live with just this. What I'm saying is, I recorded with like a 30 quid encore that you can find in any charity shop. Sure, it doesn't sound so good, but it doesn't sound bad. This needs a bit of love. Ooh. But yeah, it needs tuning up. But that still gets played almost every day. Because there's this one where I slap and thump the top, and I don't really want to do that on the posh one until I know what I'm doing. Right, so we go to utility, and we go to select, list loading, song 1, Adrian Smith. That's the one that I'm working on. Alloy 666, I don't know if that's the actual one. Alloy CPT, Bonjo, Epsilon Manifold, Silver Soothe, Silver Thresher, Decay Bloom. Yeah, I'm going to try Alloy 666. I think that might be it. So select. Right, now I've got to remember what's what. So everything there. Press play. Oh, turn our monitor on, our amp, our mini PA, whatever you'd like to call it, and let's go. Okay. Sounds very muddy. Stop. I'm going to rewind that a touch now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to fade back and forth between the recorded acoustic, the nylon string encore, and the keyboard sound. And And the way that I recorded the nylon string was just with the two internal stereo condenser mics that are inside this P.O.S unit right there. Because it's quick, it's easy, and it doesn't sound too bad. It picks up like the room, so like I felt that'd be good. All right, so let's do that again. But this time I'm going to pull everything out and just leave the guitars. See, it's nice. All together, it's nice. Stop there, because like I want that to work as it's supposed to, just for a minute. Go back a little way. Try that. Anyway, the quality's so bad coming out of that fucking stupid little speaker that I can't bear. But there's a little taste. That's called alloy hoof, and that's a little taste. Mr. White, nice, yeah. Yeah, but that is my advice there, Mr. White. Get whatever you can afford first, with an eye to getting them both. Really, I mean, I don't know. I think having a few drum machines is best because some things sound best on some. Are you recording? If you're practicing, if it's just for practicing, just get whatever you can afford the quickest, because I'm telling you, practicing over a drum machine is so fucking good for you. It gets you so tight. And what I found is when I play with my real drummer, Richard Hawking, if you're watching, bruv, sorry I ain't rung you, I will. When I fucking play with my real drummer, it's like when he does sort of like move a little bit, I'm locked right on. It's not like I'm suddenly chemically dependent on a fucking machine to be dead on. It's like I've learned to lock. And the slightest variation in the drummer, it's like I'm right on it. And I've never been so tight in my life as I have been in the last sort of 5 years playing with a drum machine all the time, like doing like 90% of my jamming with a machine and not a human being. It's got me so fucking tight. I could not recommend it more. And as well as that, it's like, I wake up in the morning, I have a fucking cup of tea, I get a bit stoned, talking of which, and stick the old drum machine on and whack a few chords out. And fuck me if I haven't written something new by the time like lunchtime comes on without even trying. It's a really cool. It's something I definitely highly recommend, Mr. White. Is getting a drum machine and practicing along with it. Just gets you tight. And it's a good writing tool as well. I'm getting the sun in my eyes here. I'm going to do something about that. But yeah, fucking glad I got a few people joining me. Oh, this plant suffering. Let's get this out. Don't want it to suffer. But yeah, it's yeah, the little Vox amp, fantastic. Absolutely love it. Right. Do. Yeah. So I had an appointment today where you get like the prick in the end of your fingers. You ever had one of them? And you have to put the blobs of blood on the squares, and it screens you for everything. Yeah, it just screens you for the lot. So I had one of those today. Had some encouragement to get the flu jab. I thought, God, I've been double jabbed, as the government helpfully like to call it already. It's like I don't want any more. Like, and isn't that great? They're trying to encourage kids and all that to get like vaccinated, and so they think, so we'll call it double jabbed. You know, make it sound as friendly and as like nice as possible. Yeah, sure. Why are you streaming? Because I'm sick and tired of making tables, Mama. You slag getting raped by that fucking Roman. Anyway, what next? Let me have a bong and think about it. But yeah, any questions, any queries, anything you want to look at or hear in the room? I don't know. I was surprised, last stream I kind of forget that I own 4 Telecasters, like showing Slap and Sniff the fucking telly bridge. And the blue one on the wall, you offered me, well, you didn't offer me, but you said you had a telly neck. No, that's cool. I'm going to get the right one, because this one's going to get the hand-me-down. It's going to get the J&D one from the Paisley burst. But I want to get the right one, Mr. White, and I'm quite happy to spend the money. I'll spend 100 quid on a neck. Like, I don't mind spending 100 quid. Like, I've got a budget in mind of up to 100 quid for that neck. No doubt I'll get something good for 30. But I want to get like a nice maple proper telly headstock. I know you say big Strat headstocks. Actually not. I used to like the bigger Strat headstock. I don't hate the Strat big headstock, but I prefer the sort of classic. Now, I prefer the classic 50s headstock. I don't know why. Tastes change over the years. It's weird. I tell you, 1 second. Now, I know Malcolm doesn't hate the Squire's classic vibes. I noticed he picks them out a lot for criticism. And I don't feel that he hates the classic vibes at all. I think he likes them. It's just everybody on the forums with their lack of imagination. And it's like, and that example he gave on his live stream made me chuckle. It's like this guy finds a classic vibe, likes it so much he buys another one and then buys another one, and he's got a black, red, and white one. I thought, yeah, you could have just bought like a decent one. It's like you could have bought like a fucking 900 quid one by then. 3 classic vibes, that would be over £1,000, wouldn't it? That'd be 700. Yeah, it would be 1,050 quid. What guitar would you get with that? I mean, fuck, I would go straight to LTD and look. To be honest, I'd probably get 2 for that. But yeah, straight off the bat, either an LTD Eclipse or maybe an MH series. But I mean, the Eclipse, the LTD Eclipse that you could get for £1,000 would be like fucking gorgeous, phenomenal. And what I really like about it, those upper end LTDs, is just how much guitar you get for the money, just how good they are, and how how much guitar you get for the money. It's like, that's the thing that kills me with Gibson. I love the Junior. I adore the Junior. I want a P90 guitar, and I love the Junior, so I want a Junior. And so I could spend a 4-figure sum on a Gibson, but actually look at how great sound it's got. Like, I hate the way that they've done this, but fuck off. You don't need a Gibson to get that Americanness. There's 2 proper Gibson Les Pauls that I can't do with my Silverbird option, and that's the truth. And the Bench, like, got the big fat fucking clubby neck. I only ever picked up 2 that are from the 50s, and they were dream guitar. They were everything that all the bloody magazines fuck on about, and flap their gums about how bloody. But they're everything they say they were. I mean, they just, they growl and they sing, they purr, and they're just wonderful. It's like, you know, tonally, they're putty in your hands. See how I'm very conscious of using that word all the time now. But fuck all that. I'll get a Harley Benton. 170 quid, and they've thought about it. While every other guitar manufacturer is like going for the fucking low profile, like fucking super slippery, fast neck, you know, Harley Benton, these fuckos that make the cheapest guitars on the market pretty much, have listened to what guitar players actually want, what real guitar players actually want. And it's like when they buy a Junior, it's like, well, they're not buying it to be Steve Vai or Joe Satriani, right? Or Alex Laiho, right? They're buying that. You get me? They want to be. They're making like a 50. They're after a 50s thing, and that includes that fucking great big neck, which was very much to me part of the tone. You know, it's like you can really feel the transmission of the note when you're up here at the far end. It's no different to like playing down here. You can really feel the transmission of the note as you push it into the guitar. And I mean, there's such a thing as too fat. I've picked up one that was just too fat. But yeah, the Harley Benton fat neck option, it's not like it's a crazy fucking oversized cricket bat neck. It's not. But 170 quid, fucking have some of that. Solid mahogany body, solid mahogany neck, fucking rosewood fingerboard. I don't think you get that with Gibson now. And it's like, yeah, that what can possibly go wrong? It's a single pickup P90 guitar. What can possibly go wrong? If it doesn't sound up to scratch, I'll fucking make it sound up to scratch. But that is the guitar. I'm going to treat myself to that at some point. After a lot of umming and ahhing, yeah, I'm not going to spend all that money on a fucking on a guitar I don't specifically want. You know, because I was going to sort of save up between 300 and 400 something that I like, just whatever I like on the day really. The LTD EC256 is the one I like. You know, it's the first sort of flame top set neck sort of single cut Les Paul shape, and a wonderful guitar they are too. I mean, I've played dozens of them and every single one was good. And they're thinner than the Les Paul, so they're like a really nice weight. And but they jumped up over 100 quid in 1 year. You know, they were 335 quid, and then boom, quid the next year. That pissed me right off. And I think I'd really love, you know, don't have anything here with P90s. Always wanted a Junior. Never owned a Junior of my own ever, of any kind. I'm going to get a fucking Harley Benton Junior. Possibly the single cut one. They do a double cut and a single cut, and they're both brilliant. And it's really hard to choose, but there's a black one with the sort of tortoiseshell pick guard, and it just, oh, look at that. Be mail order, so you know it's going to be fucking luck of the draw as to whether it's any good or not. But that's the plan anyway. Or I could spend literally 10 times that on a Gibson, and that could be a shitter. I mean, like fucking hell. I have to like, okay, this is God's honest truth. I've picked up more Gibsons per ratio, right? So say per 10, per 100. I've picked up more Gibsons that are shit, bad guitars, okay, than I've ever picked up Yamahas, and that's including their 179 quid Pacifica, okay? I've picked up more bad Gibsons in my life just to pick up and play and try out than bad Yamahas. And Yamaha go all the way down to 150 quid. Gibson don't really slip below $1,000. I mean, yeah, they do 699 and all that, but that is 699. That's a fucking real guitar. That is a real guitar. You shouldn't feel like bottom of the range Harry for fucking 700 quid, right? 700 quid on a Yamaha, you're getting a pristine, amazing instrument, which has definitely gone through a really strict quality control process. Absolutely, right? The worst that it will be is average, right? But fucking Gibson, Jesus. Yeah, 700 quid, and you're right at the bottom of the range. All the other Gibson owners are laughing, ironically. Some of those sort of, like those Gibson Les Paul tributes and stuff, I actually really like those. The ones that were sort of, that had, like the gold top was really crap. It looked like it'd been done with one of those pens. But it was like, yeah, it was like 700 quid, had a chambered body. And I think it was like The 50s one had the 50s one had P90s, soap bars, and the fucking 60s one had humbuckers. But apart from that, they weren't different. I don't think the necks were different or anything. And they had that really sort of flat, really un-Gibson-like finish, no gloss or anything like that. Actually like those. The ones of those I picked up did seem to be consistent and did seem to be all right. Which makes you wonder if they're made in Mexico or China on the slide. Genuine US, sort of build quality. But then hearken to what I say, don't take offense, because I know that both of you are American that are in the chat right now, both of you are American, but in the rest of the world, much like made in the UK, okay, like made in the US doesn't really indicate any kind of badge quality whatsoever. It's like, in fact, quite the reverse. What you want to see is like, made in Japan, made in Germany, made in Switzerland, these are things that made in Italy, even to some degree when it comes to design, not when it comes to durability. But yeah, made in Germany, made in Japan. These are words generally in a thing. Made in the US doesn't. I'll tell you a story. I used to race mountain bikes, and there's a company, a big American company called Cannondale, and they were the first mountain bike brand to really do the oversized aluminium tube back in the mid and late 80s. They were very early onto sort of oversized aluminium tubes. Most people made steel bikes with really skinny tubes. But Cannondale were always made in the US, and they had a nickname, Snap and Fail. They were fucking notorious for the bottom bracket of the frame just snapping out. You'd be up or going on a hill climb and then crunch, and it would all crack to pieces. God's honest truth, part of the T6061 heat treatment process. Anyway, it wasn't until 2006 that Cannondale, having made it for many years, finally did an entry-level range of bikes that started off at 700 quid, funnily enough, and they were made in China. They were assembled in the US, but they were made in China. And guess what? Not one warranty. Not one warranty issue. Not one. Not because of a frame snap. Not one warranty issue with the Chinese-made ones. And that woke Cannondale up big time, because they were notorious for how many frames were returned on warranty. I mean, let's put it this way. Everybody I know that owned a Cannondale had an issue. And quite often had a frame replaced once or twice. So we're talking serious fucking shit. And they were so expensive. I mean, Cannondale were like prestige premium brand. They were a really expensive brand. But yeah, they were like handing out frames like lollipops, I think you need to know about made in the US versus made in China. And I'm not having a diss at like any particular country, and I'm no fan of China. But there you go. I mean, it was made in Taiwan with the Cannondale, and they happen to have the best aluminium fabricators in the world. Turns out, like story, but that's a true story. Talking of cycling, I said something to my girlfriend about his name escapes me. Floyd Landis in the 2006 Tour de France and the doping and all that. I've spent the week completely obsessed by watching cycling doping videos and depressing. That blood bags thing, incredible. Right, I'm going to wrap up. So yeah, like this will get the hand-me-down from the red one, and then this will be back in action. That would be cool, because this was one of my first guitars, and it was something also that I bought off of John, who passed on, so that would be good. Now, I might do a bit of streaming later. I might do a bit of live playing later. But how long I've done? I've done an hour. So really glad to have you with me. Thanks so much for supporting the channel. Last stream, something incredible happened. I'll tell you the story quick. Now, I don't know if you know CGS Guitars. Sandra, you know CGS Guitars. Mike over there, bless him. Suffering and struggling. Bless that man. Anyway, I was on the live stream there a while back, and I had a back and forth with someone, like I often do, and as you know, Mr. White, that's how I met you. And yeah, I was having a back and forth, and they obviously checked out my channel, and they must have subscribed. Because like a month later, last time I streamed, he came on the stream. And I happened to mention in the stream that I lived in the New Forest, and he pipes up, "Oh, I live in the New Forest as well." Anyway, so said on the stream, "Oh, we'll find each other on Facebook and blah blah blah." Found each other on Facebook. Suggested maybe having a jam. So where are you actually? Turns out we're in the same fucking town, and he's literally just down the road. So I've made my first friend in the New Forest, who happens, who's a guitar player and whatnot. And the craziest of fucking, the craziest of situations. I mean, what are the fucking odds? CGS Guitars and Mike got absolutely nothing to do with the New Forest, okay? And it's like, as far as I'm aware, anyway. And crazy. So, like, a couple of comments shared on that, and then it turns out fucker lives down the road. Isn't that amazing? So we are going to have a jam soon, and like he's banging to his guitars, like, so wow, that's bloody great. And I'm really sorry, Sandra, you'd have probably been there at the live, because I got a message from the guy saying, "Oh, I'm just about to go on Mike's live stream," and but I was a million miles away watching the Formula One, and that was that. Not in real life, but I mean, yeah. But yeah, anyway, so that's going to do me. I might come back later on. I kind of like it when I get a chance to put all my fucking psychedelic light show on. And so I might come back and do a bit of live playing later, or I might end up talking about some fucking bit of gear. But Mark, if you're watching, I've got that wicked pedal for you. That's going to be Chainsaw Deluxe. And actually, the reason I didn't do the Chainsaw episode last week, well, there were a number of reasons, but one of them was like, just not prepared enough. I've got the chainsaw sound, but I didn't want to do a chainsaw workshop because I couldn't find any other bit. I was trying to model one on all of my stuff, and I could not get one that sounded good. I could not do a chainsaw model. So until and I didn't have enough time. So until I've got a couple of good chainsaw models, so I can go through the sounds. I think I might wait until I buy one of those Behringer. What is it? HM300, the HM2 clone. And I'll demo that and then do a few models, but we'll do that for another time. But yeah, at some point in time, I'm going to do a focus on the Orange amp. Focused a bit today on the VT20. I just can't say enough. Like, what a fucking good 70 quid that was to spend. Everything I bought Vox for this studio has been a fucking banger for the money. A real winner for the money. The little Stomp Lab, this little Stomp Lab, I think this is, if I had to pick one thing that was by far my favorite thing that I've bought, maybe this. This fucking thing's so good. When I went to a festival, I sat in the back of the van, pair of headphones in this. I had every tone I could ever imagine and want. It was fucking brilliant. And the stuff I've programmed this this expression pedal to do, the sneaky fucking things that I've programmed this to do, well, I'll demonstrate it next time. But it's like, I inject sounds into that. So I'll give you an example of one thing I do. So I set that up with a reverb. So when you press the expression pedal, it puts reverb into the sound. So I'll do a solo, and then I'll hit a note, and I'll just press that pedal. And when you push it back up again, it's like the reverb. So if it was delay, it goes, and when you pull the pedal back up again, whatever's in it will still keep going. Okay. So I'll just hit it with the reverb, and then back, and it's like leaves this one note just hanging in space. Do it with the delay as well. You probably heard me do it. But I fucking love shit like that. And this pedal's great for that. I got this to basically take work hours off of the P.O.S. Now, this digital recorder has got like the Cosm engine in it, the guitar Cosm engine. And so I was like practicing with, I was just practicing on that all the time. And I was putting like so many fucking working hours through that machine. I thought, I need to get something just to practice with. And so I bought this just to practice. Ends up, I record with this all the time because it's got the stereo out, it's got the stereo output, and importantly, right, it's made in Japan. This thing's 70 quid, and it's made in Japan, and it's tiny, and it's fucking amazing. Every guitarist should own one of these, but yeah, this has been probably the best thing, the favourite thing that I bought, and possibly the second favourite thing is this Vox amp. I was really pleased to find this on the Facebook selling group, and not too far away. And I really enjoyed just going and meeting the guy and buying it and collecting it and bringing it home and trying it. This fucking amp has been amazing. And what's really good, like every time I play it, I kind of find something, maybe most of the time, not every time, but an awful lot of the time, I find something new. And I think, oh, that's cool. This, it's a cracker. And I think this valve reactive technology, however they're doing it, where they're doing some kind of push-pull with a 12AX7, apparently in the power stage somehow. It fucking works. And also, you got the power switch there, so I'm like down into like the 5 watts mode, so I can really actually get the fucking thing in here driving in this little room. I've actually got an amp that I can drive, and it hasn't got the glassy clarity of something like the Champ, which is a tube amp with like a digital preamp. Or you can go pure. But driven, this has many tube qualities, and it certainly satisfies me. And as you heard, you can get those tight, compressed, like modern metal sounds, like the VHT sound, the boogie sounds. You know, they're good enough for recording. They're good enough for a home recording setup. Okay, I'm not saying I'm going to go out and gig with that thing, because I'm fucking not. Wouldn't I recommend it? No, right? But for recording, oh fuck yeah. Like that thing punches well above its weight. As does the multi-effect. So yeah, I've been very impressed with Vox so far. So there's a couple of things I'm looking at of theirs. I think I want to try this Korg new tube technology that Vox have embraced. So the little AC head, the little like AC head, I'm gonna get one of those. The little fucking thing that you stick in your jack plug, like it's an AC30 you stick in your jack plug for headphones, basically. And it's got like a couple of effects on it and all that. 30 quid. I'm going to fucking definitely get one of those. Because who knows if that might not be really good for recording, right? Worth a try at 30 quid for something that you can literally like grab as an afterthought when you've got, you can have it in your gig bag all the time. Just keep it in the top pocket of your gig bag or whatever. Like it's always there. On with the headphones. I think it's USB rechargeable. What a cracking like idea. So yeah, you've got a Vox AC30 amp you can take anywhere, but it's just a little thing. It's like a key fob, and you plug it into your jack plug, and and then plug your headphones into that. Cracking little thing. And the other one is these what are they called? Valve Energy pedals or whatever they are. There's one called the Cutting Edge. It's their take on like a Metal Zone, and it's got the OLED screen with the fucking oscilloscope on it. Fucking gimmicky as shit. But I am going to get one of those pedals. Like, that's the only pedal I'm going to spend real money on. And I'll tell you why. It's because I see all these boutique pedals all the time. And, and they don't really, a lot of them are sort of like, they've got the clone disease, where it's like, well, if you open it up, it's a really basic circuit. It's a circuit a school kid could do like in 15 minutes. And I love the clone, don't get me wrong. But, you're paying a lot of money for pedals that are very simple. And then you get something like that Vox Valve Energy, and it's got this fucking oscilloscope on it and all this. But it's actually doing something very interesting with the Korg new tube technology. And it's got a lot of features. It's got a switchable output, so it's like cab simulation. It's like direct recording out, or just normal output, like it's just a normal pedal. Oh no, it's set up for like if you want to use it as in your effects loop at the back of the amp, if you want to use it at the front of the amp, or if you want to direct record with it. 3 modes. It's got like 3-way EQ, and it's like volume gain and tightness, and bass, middle, treble knobs. So it's 6 knobs, and it's like 140 quid or something. Now that is pricey but it's not, is it? Like when it comes to boutique pedals, that's half the price of the average boutique drive pedal. And look, it's an actual interesting cutting edge, as it's called, piece of technology. And as you know, I'm a complete devotee of the Metal Zone. I try every derivation of it. I've got like 3 derivations of it. I'm always looking for that little extra. It was like when I discovered the metal core, that was huge, and it's a very vital part of my sound because it adds something I can't get from anywhere else. And I'm going to try the Cutting Edge. That's the one pedal that I might spend real money on at some point. But we'll see how it goes, because I'm going to have to tighten my belt fairly soon. So we'll see how it goes, Anyway, that's me done. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will catch you next time. Apologies for any offense caused at any time, because, I'm a fucking spineless, senseless shield piece of shit. But you know what? Stay heavy out there, stay safe, and look after each other. Love you to bits. Alrighty. Bye.